Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Monty, one half of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. We're produced out of Indie Music TV in New York. That's Ron Conkema, New York. Yes, again, that's Indie Music TV. You could also catch us on RTF Sports Network. That's RTF Sports Network, the number one growing streaming sports network on the air today. Catch us every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Yes, we're their anchor show. And catch our rerun on a morning drive time from 10 to 11 a.m. You could also catch us on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, the Facebook Live Monty and the Pharaoh page, Twitch TV Monty and the Pharaoh page, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, or any streaming network. We're on it. You can find us anywhere. Also catch us on New York Cable, Channel 115, every Tuesday from 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also catch us Saturday mornings on Channel 115 from 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. And catch us Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. on Channel 20. Soon we'll be coming to Amazon, so catch us there also. We want to thank everybody for the support. And again, please catch us every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., Monty the Pharaoh, Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, new, old, endangered, and let's have a little fun. Talk to you soon.
Hey guys, this is Mike Monty, co-host of Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast, produced out of Indie Music TV in Long Island, New York. Listen, we're about to talk about charity promotion. Are you registered to vote? HeadCount is a nonpartisan organization that works with music and entertainment industry to get fans to vote. To update and check your voter registration status, go to headcount.org, where you'll find your information you need to be ready for election day. Now, again, wrestling fans, this is important, right? You're making a difference. Join Monty and the Pharaoh. Use your right to vote. This is one great thing that people from this great country have to do. So again, go to HeadCount. Find out where you have to register. Go to headcount.org. This is Mike Monty from Long Island's number one pro wrestling broadcast. Have a great one. And don't forget, vote.
Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Hey, check out my new tag team, baby, Monty and the Pharaoh.
Hey, Jimmy, don't forget to tell them about Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast.
Well, you know what, I would, but you already did it.
It's Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and Pharaoh. The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and Pharaoh, bro.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
The Monty and Pharaoh Show.
And you're watching the Monty and Pharaoh Show.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
And Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, is it Monty and the Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Monty and Pharaoh.
The Monty and the Pharaoh Show.
The Monty and the Pharaoh. To the Monty and the Pharaoh Show. And it's Monty and the Pharaoh, baby.
Watching Monty and the Pharaoh.
With Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Oh, what a run.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Hey, cut the fucking music. When you want the best in professional wrestling, Long Island, there's only one place you're going to get it, right here.
Monty and the Pharaoh. Now, that's not just the coolest, and that's not just the best. That, my friends, is just incredible.
You've got the future Hall of Famer, that rocker, Marty Jannetty, MJ in the house, and I'm sitting here with two more future Hall of Famers, Monty and the Pharaoh. We're doing that stuff, and we're going to rock it.
Monty and the Pharaoh.
Duh. All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, seen only here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. A special Saturday edition with a very special guest, but first I want to welcome Matt back for a second show, brother. How are you?
Great as always.
How'd you like that Demolition interview?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How about you,
guys
Pharaoh?
had a good
I
back
loved
and
it.
forth going on.
Would you
Didn't
rather
follow the
Demolition
script
makeup
at
or no
all.
makeup?
Makeup or no makeup,
Yeah.
I'm cool either way. I thought I would mark out for the makeup, but it was great to have them either way.
And what'd you think, Matt?
About the makeup?
Yeah.
Well, they weren't wearing it. Did you?
Yeah,
Had you wished they had?
What did he say? I have no idea. Anyway, it's been a long day.
You guys didn't follow the script at all.
Well, and it's been a long day, and at the dais
That's great.
is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Mr. Nikita Koloff. Nikita, thank you for joining us, sir. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate the invite here into the Big Apple, and I'm listening to your conversation, and I just want to bring a little clarity here to my knowledge. I don't know if Action Smash corrected you or not, but those guys don't wear makeup; they wear face paint.
Oh,
Just
that's
for the record.
that is true. You know what? Thank you for correcting me.
So wait a minute. Does that mean Kiss wears face paint instead of makeup?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Gene Simmons.
I was gonna say, yeah. Hey, maybe some of the rock and rollers wore makeup, but
Okay.
but the Demolition face paint.
So what'd you think of that movie when you first came to New York? Dude, where's my car?
Say that again.
Yeah, sorry.
He's referring to our first introduction, Nikita Koloff meeting Monty and the Pharaoh. We picked up Nikita out of the airport, and of course, in Monty and the Pharaoh fashion, we couldn't find our car. What were your thoughts, Nikita? What was going through your head?
That was great.
We did wander the parking lot.
He thinks
for
we're
a
idiots.
while, until we got some assistance.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you know, blessed are the flexible, for they will not break. And I figured eventually your car's going to turn up somewhere at some point.
Right.
At some time.
And it wasn't stolen.
It was only a matter of time.
Right.
Yeah, I was pretty confident it wasn't stolen.
Yeah, I was wondering. And
you were thinking it was
well,
stolen.
you wound up going up to the wrong floor. I'm like, we're not on that floor. And you're like, hit the keys,
you
see if it
nailed
makes noise.
He's like, we're on the third level. You were right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. With all due respect, the guy who was leading me like a sheep, okay, told me we were on the wrong level. So I followed him like a sheep to the next level.
Well, let's back up. We actually couldn't find the parking deck to start with. So let's
Okay, fair
not
enough.
only did we lose the car, we also lost the parking deck.
What about when we walked to the ramp and there was nothing left but street? That was great. I was like, I think we went to the
Yeah, that would be my point.
But I didn't realize we were talking about the same dead end. Oh my God, how many dead ends did we hit finding this car?
But then once we found the parking
Oh,
lot,
it was great.
we had a little challenge locating the car.
Wow.
And then,
hey, we were
here.
well, wait. It doesn't end with that.
No.
We have to stop to have something to eat.
Right.
And Super Agent Eric Sims.
Yeah.
Upsets the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So we're having a great day.
Yeah.
That the restaurant owner says to
The
him,
bathroom was closed.
Close the bathroom on him and says, please never return to my facility again.
Well, you know what? It all
It's
worked
going up.
itself out. Here we
Oh
are.
yeah.
And here we are. You're
Nothing
right.
like effective prayer, I always say.
Come on.
Oh my God! Thank God.
So, to the prayer. We found the car.
This is true.
We made it here.
This is true.
How are you handling the world now with COVID, all the politics going on and issues? What are the thoughts of Nikita Koloff?
You know, I just have learned
really just to roll with whatever whatever's coming at me from day to day. It was interesting several months because of what I do, travel. Main thing I do, I'm here this weekend with you guys, hanging out, meeting wrestling fans, signing autographs. I'll still, occasionally do that from time to time. I enjoy doing that. I love meeting the fans, hearing their stories. But the main thing I do is ministry. In fact, Lex Luger and I just wrapped up a men's event, what we call Man Camp, and where we facilitate a couple of these a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. And so the shutdown, in a sense, shut me in for really about 5 months, from about March 1st to really about August 1st. And so for someone who travels and my livelihood is speaking and ministering and doing conferences and camps and those sorts of things, it was a pretty interesting time. I wasn't really challenged by it. What I did to take advantage of that is really just, some called it what they call is stay home, isolate, whatever terminology. I didn't call it isolate. I called it incubate. In other words, I spent a lot of time listening to sermons and worship music. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in preparation, knowing I was going to eventually get back on the road again and begin to speak again. So I just took advantage of it to just better prepare myself when those doors of opportunity open back up, and they have. So, yeah. So you'll find if you spend much time around me, you'll find, or many would say, I'm what's called an eternal optimist. So no matter how negative it might get, or no matter how black a cloud you might bring me, I'm going to do my best to somehow, some way, find a silver lining in that black cloud.
You knew we were going to find that car.
I knew.
He knew.
I
This is what I
knew.
learned.
So I don't think things don't typically get me down, and including all this crazy stuff going on around us right now.
Well, I was thinking about you during the signing. You were at Wrestling Universe, one of the best pro wrestling stores around. See them in Queens, and they're opening up a store in Comac. But I was actually thinking of you, right? Because, you're here. You're under the Monty and the Pharaoh banner this weekend, along with Captain's Corner. But I was thinking about you as a human being because you impressed me. Our conversations, the short conversations we had in the car. But these fans, they come to see you. You've been out of wrestling a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most moving situation you had from wrestler to fan? Not on the religious end, just wrestler to fan.
You mean you mean like a fan store? What?
No. Fans comes to see you, gets an autograph, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times, look, Farrell on occasion, if you see someone that he loves, he'll cry. It's happened.
What are you?
It happened with Greg Valentine.
Did not happen with Greg.
He was in tears over Valentine.
He was crying.
An instigator and a masturbator.
Well, Valentine will put. Yeah, he'll make you. He can put tears.
Well,
in
he
that.
made me eat Mexican. That made me cry.
So my point is, a fan comes, they see you.
mind.
Okay, look, you are an icon in the sport. Period.
Yeah.
What moved you? Did you ever have a moment where something moved you? And the reason I bring this up is, and I just feel like I have to say it. We had a friend in high school who passed away at a very early age.
Yes.
But I was telling you a story on how he saw you and you changed his life. He began working
He adored
with
you.
weights.
He adored you.
And again, being a Northeast guy, WWF guy.
Yeah.
Which, that was a big stamp of approval.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when I first met you at the airport, all I could think was him. Like, I wish he was here.
What a good soul he
for
was.
this moment.
He's a good
So
guy.
then I started thinking about what has moved Nikita Koloff. One incident where you were like,
where you saw the affection from a fan towards you and your character, and you could tell how much they loved you. Did you ever have any particular incident that blew your mind?
Well, I've had numerous stories that have been shared, certainly over the years, but even recently, within these last 6 months. In fact, what I did was, again, in taking advantage of this downtime, I decided to work on a revision of my last book, Nikita, A Tale of the Ring and Redemption, which is my life story. And so I wrote about 7 or 8 new chapters to bring it up to date.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got this idea, all these fans, a lot of people sitting home. And so I just posted something out on Twitter and Instagram, social media, and I just said, hey, if you have a story of how my life, some way, whether my wrestling career, maybe I spoke in a school assembly that one time that you were in that assembly, or I spoke in a church service or at a conference or something, send me your story. And I'll just tell you, some pretty amazing stories that came back to me. And what I'm doing with some of those stories is I'm including them in the final chapter of the book. So the book's is my story, right? Mm-hmm. But the last chapter, I think we're just going to call it Your Stories.
That's awesome.
And so I'm including a lot of fan stories.
Cool.
In the final chapter of the book. And just to your question, to show how much I appreciate all the stories I'm hearing and how I've been fortunate to impact people's lives. And everything from, like your friend, because of you, Nikita, I got into weightlifting. Because of you, Nikita, I got into professional wrestling. I mean, I've met numerous young guys that were inspired to get into professional wrestling because of my career. Because of you, Nikita, this happened, that happened. So there's a myriad of stories, but I'll pique the curiosity of your viewers by saying, hopefully by the end of the year that revision will be ready to purchase, and then who knows, maybe some of your viewers will see their story in print in the book, and at very least get to see and or read some of the ways my career has impacted other people's lives.
Well done. And that was not scripted, by the way. That was straight from the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
Road Warrior Animal passed away recently. Thoughts on Road Warrior?
Yeah. Like many, I suppose. I mean, very surprising. His wife had reached out to me just about 10, 12 days prior, I think a couple weeks prior to that, just randomly, and said, hey, Joe's 60th birthday's coming up. I'd like to surprise him. Would you shoot me a video, happy birthday video to him? And, of course, I mean, Joe and I go back to 1978. I think I was sharing with you guys, or some of the guys, that when I went to the funeral service, other than his brother John and his brother Mark, I looked around that room. Kind of dawned on me, I've known him longer than anybody else in that room, with the exception of his two brothers.
Wow.
And I guess, the number one thing is it just lends itself for all of us to understand, that mortality is a reality, and there is no promise of tomorrow. We do what we can, or I do what I can to take care of myself, exercise, eat, work out, and do the things I feel I'm within my control to do, but still realizing that there is no promise of tomorrow, and so these sorts of things happen. I posted a magazine cover shot. It was interesting. It was Ivan and I wearing the NWA tag team belts, and Animal and Hawk wearing the AWA tag team belts. And I asked the fans, I go, hey, what do you notice about this magazine cover? And I think only one or two pointed out the fact that I'm the sole survivor of that cover at this point. That the other three have all passed on. So.
Well, we know what Ivan, obviously meant to your career as a wrestler. Can you tell us how much Ivan meant to you as a person?
Yeah, we became, and people ask me, of course they still ask, believe it or not, to this day, is she really your uncle? Or, hey, your brother Ivan, or your cousin, they all kinds of things, right? I'm like, all right, it all works. But, was he really your uncle? And I'm like, well, he was in TV land. However, he was as much an uncle to me as any uncle I ever had, because he was instrumental, him and Don Kernodle, and helping teach me the ropes, pun intended, of wrestling, and we became close friends outside the ring, and spent a lot of time together, even really right up to his passing. And his wife, she wanted a very private graveside service, and asked if I would, be essentially the main speaker, which I was certainly honored to do that.
Wow.
And there might have been, I don't know, I think she invited maybe 25 people, not many. So just those who were really close, family, and then friends who were really close. And so it was quite an honor, and again, nothing but just incredible thoughts when I think about Ivan and all that he accomplished, certainly inside the wrestling ring, but even what he did with his life post wrestling.
Did Ivan reach out to you towards the end, maybe to talk about God and maybe get some clarity towards the end? Because I know you preached the word, and
yeah, it wasn't towards the end. It was actually so I give my life to Christ 17 October 1993.
Farrell's birthday.
Your birthday.
I have to throw that in.
Your birthday. We share birthdays.
There you go.
And so
there you go.
And then there we go. And then I was in 1995. I got connected with an evangelist out of South Africa, and began to really just be mentored by him, and I felt impressed to call Ivan and invite him. This evangelist was doing revival services in North Carolina, and so I reached out to Ivan. I remember I reached out to him on a Monday, and I knew the evangelist was going to be there all week, and just invited Ivan. I didn't know he was at the service until the end of the service, when the evangelist gave what somebody knows as an altar call, and there was Ivan standing at the altar,
really,
surrendering his life to Jesus. That was
really?
1995.
Okay,
and it was the real deal. And by that I mean, prior to that, Ivan, by his own admission, and even in books and videos, would admit that he had drug addictions, tobacco addiction. I mean, he was a big chewer. He drank a lot of alcohol, ran around a lot or whatever. But you know what? On that night, kind of like those who are familiar with the Bible, is the Saul in the Bible who had a road to Damascus experience and had a real life-changing transformation.
Yep.
That was Ivan's story. I mean, he went literally that night. It was like the slate was wiped clean, and from that point on, he never, by his choosing, he never had another drop of alcohol, another pinch of tobacco, didn't take another drug. I mean, cleaned his whole life out. Went on to become an ordained minister.
What made you invite him? Just
why?
What made you invite him? Had he been asking about things like faith?
No. I just felt really just felt the Lord impress it upon my heart. Like, you need to call Ivan and invite him. And part of the inspiration is in having traveled with him on the road.
Okay.
And knowing, if you want to say, his lifestyle.
Okay.
And the things that he was doing, like the things I just mentioned.
Yeah.
I just, in my heart of hearts, I was like, I need to call Ivan and invite him. I didn't know that he would come. I really didn't even think he would come. But if you've ever heard his testimony or his story about that, he'll tell you after I called him, just something in his heart said, I need to go. If it means that, if it means a lot to, he used to call me Nicky. He was one of the few who called me Nicky.
Okay.
And he said, if Nicky is going to take the time to invite me, then I need to go. And he said there was just this compelling draw inside of him to go.
Right.
And so that was 1995, and so all those years, like he used to do a lot of autograph signings and stuff, like the Walmarts for the Children's Miracle Network and everything. Anywhere and everywhere he went after that, like there'd be his 8x10s and there'd be his Bible, and he wouldn't necessarily bring it up, but if a fan came and brought it up, he would just open right up and just start sharing how Jesus changed his life and how much that Bible meant to him, and just have conversations.
So we were talking in the car also about your wrestling career and Ivan. And something that you said in passing through the conversation, we were talking about, God, if you only would have came to the World Wrestling Federation and Ivan could have came with you. But the one thing you said is you didn't think Ivan would have come. Why?
Well, I don't know. It probably falls in line with the same question people ask me or comment on social media and other things as why isn't he in the Hall of Fame for the WWE? I don't know the answer to that, and my guess is whatever happened in the past, and there's got to be something, obviously something that happened that's kept him out of the Hall of Fame, something whatever that reason is.
Yeah.
That same reason probably would have prevented him from being invited in back up there, back to the WWF.
Did he ever share with you any problems with Vince McMahon Jr.?
No, we never. I mean, we weren't talking about WWF, man. We were talking about NWA and Rock and Roll Express and Road Warriors, and we're looking at what's in front of us, not the competition.
But as a wrestler, and now that there's only really one game in town, I know AEW is coming around and NWA Power is trying to do their thing there. Now wrestlers say New York was the pinnacle. When you got there, that's when you knew you made it. Is that what you felt, or did you not feel that at all?
Didn't feel that at all. I mean, I'd say it was some pretty good competitive days between WWF and NWA, and once we started going head to head, like for example, I mean, I can clearly remember going to Philadelphia. They were at the Spectrum and we were at the Civic Center. We had 10,000 people. They had 10,000 people. Yep. I mean, head to head. We had one opportunity to go to Landover to the Cap Center over a 4th of July, and I want to say 87. I think July of 87. I'm almost positive it was July of 87. And the main event was the Superpowers and the Road Warriors against the Four Horsemen. And everyone was kind of surprised we got in there because Vince had a lock on a lot of the buildings, and so even to get in there, at that point he had to give the building permission for. And the way I understand the story, he didn't think we were going to draw over that holiday or whatever.
So he wanted to embarrass you, probably, right?
Yeah, but we packed that place out with 23,000 people, and
cursing.
They never sat down for that 8-man tag match the whole entire time. I mean, and Dusty and I, as the Superpowers. I mean, anywhere we went for a couple of years once we formed the Superpowers, basically sell out business. Combine that with the Road Warriors. Combine that with the Four Horsemen.
Then I have to apologize to my partner here because on the way to pick you up, we were having a conversation, and
Who's going to apologize?
I was talking about how Nikita Koloff, the heel, was one of the most incredible heels ever, and I felt that the face turn, even though it was necessary because the Cold War, was not beneficial to the character.
It was awesome.
He, on the other hand, said no, he was never hotter than when he was a face. Would you feel that the Pharaoh is correct?
Well,
I guess, dude. They loved you.
Initially, people did love to hate me.
That's true.
I mean, I had six different matches where fans jumped the barricade and came after me. Attempted to get in the ring after me. A couple of them succeeded. Ivan and I had death threats, at the Jim Crockett office.
Were you the fellow who got clocked with a spark plug in Puerto Rico or something like that, or was that somebody else?
That's me.
You? That's you.
Yeah.
Spark plug in Puerto Rico. Yeah, great.
It's crazy. I just told that story. Luger and I just finished a man camp. We had a guy from Puerto Rico, and I just told that story of being hit in the arm with a spark plug. Cut my arm open. That's how much they love me in Puerto Rico. And so I will say this: I am thankful that I got to experience both sides.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing is, I'll inject this part of the story. If Magnum TA hadn't had his accident, I get asked, "Would you have turned babyface?" I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for certain, 100%. But my guess would be probably not,
right?
Because Magnum was being groomed to be the next Ric Flair. He and I already had incredible chemistry, especially from the best of 7 with the U.S. belt.
Mm-hmm.
And so most likely him and I would have had several years run back and forth as world champions because we just had that chemistry.
Mm.
So the fact that I end up deciding, or they gave me the choice of teaming with Dusty, I only saw that one as a positive thing to be with somebody as popular as he was, and the fact that he had, creative control of things. And now, did we know? Someone asked him prior to his passing, did he know that was he confident that he know that angle that story would get over so well? And truthfully, he said no, none of us really had any idea.
Couldn't imagine.
A Russian becoming a good guy, right?
Right.
And so
he tried it though.
We were pleasantly surprised that
ballsy
that the fans. Well, and kind of to that point of, it was the time. If you're going to turn, the time turns when you're the hottest heel. That's the time to turn, right? And so I think I can think back in the Charlotte Coliseum that night to the fans, the same fans who 30 days before, 1 month before, hated my guts.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm looking around this arena, and they got their shirts off. They're doing the pose. They're sticking their tongues out there. I'm like, okay, I think this might work.
Well, thank God they didn't make him. Thank God they didn't make you a Four Horseman. That would have been terrible.
No, that wouldn't have fit the narrative.
So here's something I heard on Jim Cornette's podcast. He's talking about when you first started off, right? You're hitting the gas. You're super huge, right? You never broke kayfabe with the boys, and you didn't cash a check from the organization for 1 year.
So what's the question?
What?
Were you really that into it, man? You're that into it, huh?
Like, supposedly, like, Arn Andrews would be like, you with the boys, and you were like, and that your mother, I guess, worked at the bank.
What?
Yeah. And
I don't know about this.
No,
she didn't work at the bank.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what's the story?
He's smiling. I wonder where this goes.
I mean, the numbers are all over the map as far as as far as the length of time without cashing a check.
Okay.
What the CPA for Jim Crockett came to me. I wasn't even
the car parking attendant. We're still looking for our cars.
Huh?
Oh, the CPA. Oh, the certified. I thought you said car parking attendant. Never mind. I thought we were still looking for our car.
So my mindset was business. Like when I broke in, it was about business for me. I from day one,
right.
I'm a business guy.
Right.
So I my approach was business mindset. Hence, I hired a business manager. I think one of the very first guys to ever do that.
Okay.
And one of my best friends, Tim Peltier. So I hired Tim, and I said, "Hey Tim," I said, "Man, everything's coming to you. My checks. Well, I'll give you a little backstory, but my checks. You know, you're going to pay my rent. You're going to pay my electric, my phone. You're going to pay my gas. Any bills I got, they're all coming to you. You're going to take care of everything. I'm going to focus on wrestling and building the story and building my character and all of that." And so started studying the Russian language a little bit to put a few phrases together. Learned to sign my name in Russian. And I thought, if I'm going to get this character over, I'm not going to talk to anybody in the dressing room, outside the dressing room, unless I absolutely have to talk to somebody. In fact, Mark Merrill told me a story just a while back when he first came into the NWA territory. Johnny B. Bad, he was wrestling with us. He goes, "Dude," he's like, "I got to tell you," he goes, "I've never told you this, but when we first came in," he goes, "first of all, half of us were scared to death of you. We're like, that guy could like rip your head off." He goes, "And then you're talking in in character in the dressing rooms, and we're like looking at each other, whispering, going, does he know we're like smart to the business? Does he know what?"
I thought you were nuts.
In fact, I know you guys had Demolition on.
That's right. Crusher Khrushchev.
Crusher Khrushchev. But before he was Crusher, he was out in Louisiana with Nikolai Volkov.
Uh-huh.
And so when we brought him up to the Carolinas to become Crusher Khrushchev, he's like, "Dude, he goes, I should have known." He goes, we heard in Louisiana that they had to shoot Russian up in the Carolinas, and we're like, "Oh wow, that's amazing." And I come find out it's you, and I'm like, "Why didn't I know that?" Why? Because I'm just that guy. If I'm going to do something, I'm all in. I'm 100% in, right? I'm not going to do anything half baked. So I'm focused on wrestling, and I think at the time they paid us weekly, I think. And so, you know, I'd get my check, and there was really no urgency. I'm a what my sister would call a very frugal guy, and so I would spend what I'd need to spend in order to eat and live and that sort of thing. And so I had money in my pocket, so I didn't see any need to cash a check, so I just throw it in my closet shelf. And then at one point, Dave was the guy's name. The CPA came to me at one point, and I don't even know how long it was, but the bottom line was, he says, "Cash your checks." I go, "Dave, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Cash your checks. You're screwing up my accounting, all my bookkeeping and everything." I go, "How am I doing it?" He goes, "Because you haven't cashed your checks. Cash your checks." So, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I had a year's worth, 2 years worth, 6 months worth.
Wow. I don't need to cash this.
I don't know.
How you do that?
But it was enough. I had enough uncashed checks to screw up his books. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And then it was fast forward. At that point, I just had everything sent to Tim, and Tim just handled everything.
Were you playing?
And I got an allowance.
Were you, besides in the locker room where they clearly thought you were batshit crazy talking in the Russian, were you doing this on the streets too? To like, you go through a drive-through and do an MJF? I said a number 2, you stupid! Well, I can't do the Russian. I wish you would. But were you taking it that far?
Once I developed the accent, je do it.
Give me that. What was that? I just almost heard it.
Once I developed the accent.
He teased me. Go on. That's not right. Anyway.
You always leave them hanging, wanting more.
That was just a little whisker hair. Go on. Anyway.
Once I developed the accent.
And by the way, folks, he's been asking for this accent for the
all day. The guy won't give it to me.
He wanted a car at the event.
All day. Yeah, would you do the Russian accent? Would you do the right? You make me sound like such a... I was doing
YouTube.
That, folks. Anyway.
YouTube.
Dear God.
Once I developed the accent, once I actually learned English, it started speaking. Again, I made the decision that I was going to live it anywhere in public. So anywhere in public would mean
anywhere in public.
Grocery store, it would mean a movie theater, it would mean a restaurant, an airplane. It would mean being pulled over by the cops. In fact,
oh my God, what?
I was telling this story the other day.
What is he doing?
So I screen test for Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's in here somewhere.
That's in
Come
there.
on.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, nice.
So it's Dolph Lundgren and I out on the set with Stallone.
And Kerry Von Erich, yeah?
Yeah. It was between Dolph and Nikita. Kerry.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
Kerry's first question to me was, are there some lines we're supposed to like? I'm like,
dude, you will lose. Cut. That's terrible.
No, that was like, well, the odds of me getting this role just went up from 33% to 50%.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
I think
for
higher.
sure.
Well, yeah, that's true.
50-50
Dolph
now.
is still in the damn room. Yeah,
Kerry,
come on.
Kerry, thank you for not knowing your lines. You increased my odds at this point. Here's the point. With Sylvester Stallone or anyone else on that set, limousine drivers, I never broke character, even for the screen test.
Wow.
I just stayed in Nikita Koloff character for the screen test, including conversations with Stallone.
Oh, boy.
Off camera.
Yo, he's nuts. Take Dolph.
All right, now
to your question, to answer your question, I never. 3 years after I left wrestling, I stayed in character.
All right, so wait a minute.
Ooh, you
come home to your wife.
Wow.
You come home to your wife. Are you in character?
That's not public.
Huh?
Yeah, no.
That's not public.
Right. He's in
Okay, so
what did I say?
At home with family.
Anything in private.
In private.
Right. Was good.
Anything in private. Now, when the older girls were little,
yeah.
Okay.
I was in character around them because I didn't want them to go to school. They're in elementary school.
Gotcha.
And kids are going to go, is your dad really Russian? And they're kids. They're going to go,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
Right,
he speaks English,
Right.
whatever. So I stayed in character for a while with them until I felt they were old enough to understand.
Then why did you stay in character with the boys then? That wasn't public, right? You're in a plane. You're all hanging out, right?
We're not always on private planes. We're on commercial planes.
Okay.
That's business, though. That's part of his character.
Yeah,
And in locker rooms, it's not always just the boys. Security would come in.
Gotcha.
Different people would come in.
Yeah, sure.
So
mopping the floor. He's in there.
And it wasn't 100% of the time. I was conscious of my surroundings.
I understand.
So, or if it was new guys that came, like Mark Merrill when he came, I'm like, I don't know how long this cat's gonna last. I don't know.
All right, we got about 3 more minutes before we go to the auction.
All right.
I appreciate you coming in, Nikita. Farrell's going to hit you with one more question.
Oh, sure. Why don't we ask you about the legendary Jim Crockett? Thoughts on Jim Crockett?
Yeah, absolutely. I have thoughts on Jim. I'm grateful and thankful to the entire Crockett family for giving me my break. If it wasn't for Jim taking a chance on me, there wouldn't be a Nikita Koloff. And he believed in me. I find that I'm loyal sometimes to a fault.
Okay.
But I'm a loyal guy to people, and so I was loyal to Jim Crockett. I probably could have went to New York and made, who knows, 10 times, 100 times the amount of money. It's not always been about the money for me. My integrity and loyalty is most important, or very important to me. And so I felt I just really felt this loyalty to the NWA, to Jim Crockett for giving me my break, and was willing to forego a bigger paycheck or a bigger payday just to line my own pockets in support of the organization that gave me a chance.
And you made a good living at WCW. It wasn't like, you know.
I mean, I didn't make anywhere near, you know, what guys made, even not long after I retired. But I did decent. I mean, I didn't cash any checks, so I mean, I did.
He didn't even have to cash his checks.
I did okay. You know, I would say I didn't make millions, and to where I could sail off into the sunset.
Okay, sure.
But I made more than I ever would have doing anything else that I might have done.
Did Vince or Pat Patterson ever try to touch base with you to just see where you were at any point?
No, I met Vince in Las Vegas. Again, a head-to-head show in Las Vegas. Bumped into him in the gym out there in Vegas. Very cordial, very polite. Had a, you know.
Who's bigger, you or Vince?
Oh, interesting.
I'd say his bank account is much bigger.
Come on.
He got you.
Size-wise, muscle-wise.
Good answer.
Who was bigger?
I'd say his bank account is much bigger.
Oh, man.
Well, at the time...
How big was Vince's guns? Come on.
He's a big I have no clue, but at the time we met, I was 285, 8% body fat with a 34-inch waist. So
Vince had water pistols.
I don't know what he might have weighed at that time, but very cordial conversation, and you know, it had nothing to do with business. It was just a cordial conversation.
Did you talk? Were you Russian when you were talking to him?
Well, of course.
That's great.
So
that's awesome. That's consistent.
That is great.
That's business.
I'm in the gym. I'm not breaking kayfabe anywhere. I'm in the gym.
Right. Is he holding a straight face with you or what?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
But didn't you ever wonder about the possibilities? And we talked about this on the ride over here. You had Hulk Hogan over there. You're a Russian heel. We had Sergeant Slaughter over there. You're a Russian heel. Did you ever think about the possibilities back in those days at all? Like, man,
I was flattered by the promotion of, you know, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Bill Apter, and all the magazines and stuff really were touting Hogan, Koloff.
Right.
And so it was certainly flattering to see that touted in the magazines. But I can honestly tell you there wasn't a day or a night where I was, you know, either a day daydreaming or having a dream at night about, you know,
right.
It's so great to wrestle Hulk Hogan. Right. You know, I was thrilled and happy for what they were doing. I was thrilled and happy for what we were doing.
Sure.
And I was just, we had a great crew. I mean, when I look at Flair, Steamboat, the Road Warriors, I mean, just go down the list of guys. Eventually Sting, Luger. I mean, we had a great crew. Arn, Tully, Ole. I mean, we had such a great crew that worked hard together to build a brand and build a product that we believed the fans just absolutely loved. Again, that there was no entertaining any idea. Even Barry. So when he was Crusher Khrushchev, and I will say this, when he told me he was going to go to New York, you know, originally he said, go with me and be my partner. And I'm like, I go, Barry, man, I worked so hard on building the Nikita Koloff character that I really don't want to go change characters. You know, kudos to you, and I'm sure, I know that'll work out. I'm sure it'll work out for you. You're a hard worker. But I'm Barry, I'm just not interested. That was, if there was any discussion, it was with Barry. The other part I was going to tell you, when you asked if Pat Patterson or any of the rest of them called me, you know, it was back in the days of answer machines, right? I guess I'd say this: either I missed the voicemail if they did try to reach out and contact, or they just never left a message.
Right.
So. Did you have Russian on your voice tape on your answer machine too?
Probably.
That's great.
Real quick before we end the show, your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers.
Ooh. Wow. You only got 4 faces to work with. Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Four faces.
You want me 4 guys I enjoyed working with, or what?
Whoever you think is.
Well, how about this? How about your definitive opinion of who the 4 faces that best represent pro wrestling should be on that Mount Rushmore?
Jeez.
If you had to pick 4.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
2 that. Okay, well,
go for it.
Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Animal, and Hawk. There you go.
Nice.
Very
It's
good.
not so bad, man. That's
Not
pretty-
bad.
Flair give you your favorite match of your career? I've read that in places. Any truth to that? You and Flair?
I thoroughly enjoyed working with Rick. I say it all the time. He can make a broomstick look good. He made Nikita Koloff look good. He was one of the consummate professionals. I was fortunate to be in the ring with a lot of incredible guys. I mean, Dory Funk Jr., Blackjack Mulligan. In the Carolinas, legendary Johnny Weaver. I mean, Wahoo McDaniel. I mean, I was fortunate. Larry Zbyszko. There were so many guys. Rick Rude. I just go down the list of guys that helped. Really, were instrumental in helping build my character and building me into who I became. I didn't do it by myself. I still had to carry the ball, but a number of these guys were instrumental, and of course, obviously Dusty and then ultimately Jim Crockett again for giving me that ultimate break.
I'll tell you what, as a viewer watching all those years ago, we had no clue you were new. When you first came in, you ascended like a meteor, and you had one of the best damn runs I can remember, so thank you for coming on.
With that, thank you for coming on. Stay
Appreciate
tuned
it,
for
guys.
Nikita Koloff on Captain's Corner. We're going to do a live auction. Nikita will be signing photos for fans and a whole bunch of other stuff. But by the way, catch Monty Nefaro on YouTube, Monty Nefaro page, Facebook Live, Monty Nefaro page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Channel 115 every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30.
Nice.
And every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 6:30. And Channel 20 on Friday at 2 in the morning from 2 in the morning to 2:30. Once again, Nikita, thank you. And hope to see you soon.
Guys, it's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
And we'll try to find the car so we can get you out of here later.
I hope
Later.
so.